Alright, so without further ado, here is Tim's and my top 5 do's and don'ts. These are things we did right and things we did wrong. Alright, so the first thing I would do differently, I would have the project mostly done before we started. Making you guys wait a year and a half for your book is just too long. If you're doing a Kickstarter, have a good chunk of it done. Have some confidence that you're going to fund, that people will get what you're doing. Number 2, work with people who are used to doing what you need them to do. For example, if you're making a comic, work with artists that work regularly from scripts, who do a certain number of pages a week. Get people who are already doing the things that you are needing them to do. That way there's no mystery, there's no surprises, and there's no panic. Alright, know the details before you begin. Know what it's going to cost, know how long it's going to take. Think about things like Kickstarter fees, failed pledges, taxes, shipping, printing, all this stuff. I wish we would have had a much better grasp on that before we began. It would have saved us a lot of problems. When you don't plan well, people end up having to take up your slack, and that's something you don't want to do to your team or to your backers. Number 4, stay calm. It's going to feel like setbacks are the end of the world. It's going to feel, I know that I was always very aware that other writers, people that I know from my writing career were backing the project. And so this thing was public. It had my name on it, and I thought, no matter what happens with this, good or bad, my name's attached to it, and that created an incredible sense of urgency to get things right. And so when things would go bad, it would be like, your career is ruined if you don't fix this. And that's not true. People make mistakes. So stay calm. One setback isn't the end of the world. Focus on solutions and don't beat yourself up. Number 5, keep your project and your Kickstarter as simple as possible. Don't let extras flood the process. Don't let any social media communication that you're doing, don't let any extras that are attached, any stretch goals, don't make any promises that are going to hinder you when it comes to finishing your project. There are days when I need to be drawing pages, when I have to instead do vlogs, and while I enjoy doing vlogs, it takes me away from my work. It makes the whole process take longer. So make sure that any promises you make are in proportion. Focus on your core product or story. That's the most important part.
I've decided to do all my takes like this, because I find the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice very motivational.
It reminds me of Hellraiser.
Number 1. I overestimated how fast I could go. The workload was heavier than I expected, and so when I would fall short of my speed expectations, it would be very discouraging. So what I should have done was set for myself an achievable pace that I could maintain. Number 2, communication was really important between an artist and a writer, or just any team members on a project. And I can remember babies crying. At the beginning of the project, I kind of kept a lot of information to myself, particularly if I felt like I had bad news for my team. And that really, it didn't help anything. It just left us all confused. Number 3, I would second guess myself a lot, and because of that, it made sitting down to do the work even harder. And sitting down, like just sitting down at the workstation is half the battle. And if you're second guessing your abilities, you're just it's gonna feel like it's gonna be built up into this monster that you have to defeat every time. It's useless thought. It's just busy work for your brain, and it slows you down. Number 4, you're not a machine. If you don't take time to just take a break away from your work, as long as it doesn't like take all week long, you don't take time, you're going to alienate the people around you, your family, your loved ones. So it's important to refuel that way, as long as it doesn't become a substitute for actually doing the work. And number 5, I kind of felt like I needed a formula at the beginning of the project. It was, how am I going to draw the people's faces? How am I going to do my backgrounds? What is my palette going to be like? And those are all, things that kind of fell together when I let go. And there's often no right way to do what you're trying to do. And in those instances, you just have to fake it. And you'll find that when you jump in and you think you're faking it, that you're actually doing it. And that's just how it feels.
Alright, here's some of the things that we got right and that I recommend you do as well. Number 1, take your craft seriously. Whether you're a writer or an artist or game designer, whatever your project is and whatever you're contributing to it, make sure you actually have something to contribute. You can't just have an idea. Ideas are a dime a dozen. They're easy. You have to bring something to the table. Take what you do seriously, and that'll make other people take you seriously when it comes time to do a project together. Number 2, we created a story that had a built-in fan base or niche. Another way of saying that is that our story was about something. It wasn't just disconnected from everything. There were elements of it that tied to the real world or a specific group and their interests, and that really helps when you're building a project because you have a fan base that you can tap into. And it also helps your project not just be adrift. It's not, it keeps you from being self-indulgent, and it makes you think about what the world actually needs from you as an artist. Number 3, make your pitch or your Kickstarter video or whatever. If you're in a position where you have to pitch your piece of entertainment, your pitch has to be a piece of entertainment. You have to entertain with that. You have to hit people emotionally before they're going to listen to you intellectually or analytically or logically. You have to touch them before they'll hear you. So focus on that with any pitch that you do. Number 4, be open and generous with your backers, with your supporters, and with your team. Honor their faith in you. Always give more than you promised. Communicate with them. Be available. And don't be afraid to get in there and connect with the people that are interested in what you're doing, because they're the reason that it happens. And number 5, this is maybe the best thing that we did in spite of other problems that may have created. This is super important. Don't wait for anybody's permission to create something. Don't wait for somebody to say go. Don't wait for guarantees. Our 750 backers did not seek us out and sit us down and say, hey, if you guys make this comic, we'll back you up. It doesn't work like that. You have to step out in boldness and in confidence that the people are going to get what you're about, and that you have the skills and the determination to make good on any promises that you make. So don't wait for anybody's permission. If you need permission, here's mine. Go create the thing that is in your heart to make. And don't do a warm-up project. Don't do the thing you think will sell so that later on you can do the thing that's in your heart to do. Because that thing you do with the hopes that it will sell and get you in, it may not even sell. And you've wasted all this time and energy on a project that wasn't in your heart to do. Do the one that you care about first. Do that one. That one that's been in your head. That one that feels like it's next. Do that one.
Number 1, I drew in the style that was most comfortable for me. I drew in the style that I felt like I could do the most with. At the beginning, we experimented with different kinds of styles, if you're trying to cram yourself into a shape that doesn't work for you, you're just, the product you're going to make isn't what it could have been. Number 2, I didn't cut corners through the tough pages. I drew the tough panels, redrew the panels that I got wrong. I fought through it till it looked right. Number 3, I put in the time. I prepared myself for the project to take more than I expected, but it took more than I expected. And no matter how much it took, I didn't quit because I committed to it. Number 4, I took advice from my betters as well as my peers. There's a lot you can learn from people who are doing the same thing as you, and a lot of times saying that something doesn't work is the best thing that someone can say to you. And so I'm really grateful for the way that they have stretched my thinking and the way that I see things. Number 5, I have never been satisfied with where I'm at. I know there's always room to grow, and I hope I remember that my whole life. I have this little catchphrase I can leave you with: as long as you're alive, you never arrive. It rhymes. So it must be true. I said that. It's me.
I'm going to make Picus say that in one of the stories now.
Picus. I am Picus.
Tim is not Picus.
I am... he's based off of it.
No, he's not! My final piece of advice to anybody who wants to create something is going to sound really strange. And that is, if you can do something else, do it. This is not an easy way to make money. It's not an easy way to get recognition or to make people like you. It's the long way around for just about everything except just the joy of making stuff. If, on the other hand, you find you can't quit, if you find that this is the thing that you're supposed to do, and that you know that, then do it. Don't be afraid, because too many people end up on their deathbeds thinking, I wish I hadn't spent my whole life working a job that I hated. I wish I'd had the courage to do the thing that I cared about. So if you're one of those people who can't quit, then move forward. Give it everything you got.